Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. And some pretty big news on a Wednesday afternoon. The Sharks have sacked John Plumtree, or rather, will not be continuing with him at the end of the season. Confirmation that he will step down as head coach at the end of the 2025-2026 season due to the poor run of results the Sharks have been on at the start of the season. And to be honest, in the last few years, despite having such a stacked side on paper, so many Springboks, incredible amount of talent, the Sharks have not produced the results that we've expected from them. They've been outplayed in the last couple of years, or outperformed rather, by the likes of the Bulls, the Stormers. Sometimes even the Lions have competed a bit very sort of similar to them, despite the vast difference of resources. And a decision had to come. Something had to change, and they are going to be changing things. But not this season, which is quite an interesting decision in itself, to announce something in October after literally the first 6 weeks of URC rugby, but that nothing's actually going to change right now. I think the main thing is that it now means that the search for the successor begins now. But let's get into the press release and look at exactly what the situation is, shall we? And before we do that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So this is what came out about an hour ago. And the big part of it here is saying the Sharks' ownership and management have confirmed a series of significant changes to their rugby program, which will take place over the coming months. They say that due to following a disappointing start to the season, the leadership team conducted a comprehensive review of the Sharks' rugby structures, engaging multiple stakeholders, etc., etc. Management's assessment is that the problem is multifaceted, and we are clear that the long-term success of the Sharks will be best served by tackling issues across the organization rather than relying on simple fixes. So it's a very nice way of basically saying that, as far as we understand, it's not just a coaching issue. It's more than that. It's not just John Plumtree, for example. We need to try and solve everything, which is a nice way of saying, instead of going, well, we've set the coach and hopefully things will change. However, the first significant step is that John Plumtree will step down as head coach by mutual agreement at the end of the 2025-2026 season. And they then say that he retains the full backing of the ownership, bloody. He will move into a mentoring and advisory role, however, at the end of the season. So basically, he has been sacked, but they won't do it now. They'll just sort of move things on at the end of the season. They then said that to support Plumtree in driving results over the remainder of the season, the Sharks will engage a technical coach consultant as a matter of urgency to provide input across on-field performances with particular focus on the game model. Now, this is interesting because Jimmy Stonehouse has already been a name that they floated around as somebody who they were trying to get involved in basically, I think, this exact role. Now, nothing really materialized, and Jimmy Stonehouse spoke about the fact that, you had to worry about the Pumas playing in Toys Challenge Cup and different stuff like that, and that no agreement had actually been made between Jimmy Stonehouse and the Sharks as to, providing this potential advisory role or technical consultant and the likes of that. But it does seem quite likely that he would be then a candidate to kind of step in and do it. It's interesting when you look at the coaching pedigrees of the two. John Plumtree certainly has the better coaching CV, but obviously Jimmy Stonehouse has been getting a lot of backing, a lot of results at the Pumas, and I wonder if they might look at bringing him on now as a potential audition almost for the job long term. The question obviously then comes in, who do you go to? I don't think we're going to see, for example, Jake White, but could you see one of the junior coaches going through there? Could you see, for example, down the line, would they go and say, right, let's get like a Jimmy Stonehouse in for a year, and then post the next World Cup, you look at bringing in a Stick, for example, a Dion Davids. They could go that route. So lots of different options here for the Sharks. But continue with the press release. They said that Neil Powell will focus on certain key operational areas, including the junior and academy programs, player recruitment, retention, logistics, medical and rehab, travel planning, and budget management. Basically, Neil Powell is being removed from the coaching box. It's a big, big step. And I do wonder how much of a case it might have been of too many cooks spoil the broth, really, with having both Neil Powell and John Plumtree, a director of rugby as well as a head coach, but not two people who knew each other particularly well. Very different as opposed to, the Rassie and Jacques, about combination. They didn't know each other particularly well, and I think you probably find there's a lot of conflicting ideas with regards to how to do these things. The CEO, though, Sean Bryant, has confirmed that the entire rugby program will remain under critical review for the rest of the season. The top to bottom review will include a detailed assessment of every department and function and will involve external experts to help inform structural and performance improvements. They then said, encouragingly, the Sharks junior system continues to be a source of pride, blah, 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 blah. That basically means that if you're a Sharks assistant coach right now, you are under review. You are formally under review. There is nothing really talked about the fact that those coaches are going to remain on and that they're going to stay with their coaches. And you have to be able to do that, because if you bring in a new coach, you've got to be able to bring in the right assistant coaches and support staff to back them up. I mean, you look at, for example, Ivan Van Rooyen's first season, and then what happened when they brought in Ricardo Loubser, Jacques Fourier, Albert van den Berg, and the lines got significantly better when they brought in, these sort of assistant coaches. So it's about making sure that, first of all, you got to get everything ticked with regards to your different roles, and then you got to make sure you got the right group together so that everyone is aligned. And this is apparently what happened with the Bulls, is that there were fallouts between Jake White and his assistants. Rumors that he wasn't even speaking to Andries Becker, and that, there were just no communication between the different Bulls coaches. And that was one of the big parts of the fact that, things just fell apart because there was no, synergy in that coaching staff in the end. In terms of what the CEO actually had to say, he said as follows. He says, our performance this season has not been good enough, and we owe it to our fans and stakeholders to acknowledge and take full responsibility. No excuses. That accountability sits across the entire organization, from management and players to myself as CEO. He says, as an ownership group and leadership team, we will remain ambitious about the future of the Sharks, and over the coming months, no stone will be left unturned as we look to build a high-performance environment capable of delivering the success that our players are capable of and that our fans and partners deserve. So big changes at the Sharks. I think we're going to see a lot of changes actually in that coaching box. Obviously now Neil Powell is not going to be involved. We're potentially going to be seeing a technical consultant come in. But I also think that for next season, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see lots of different support staff coming in, and a complete different sort of overhaul of the coaching staff. Because unfortunately, you can't really have an overhaul of the squad, can you? And also, you look at the quality of the squad and you think, well, how is a squad who is made up of about 50 to 60% of Springbok Cat players, and you've got 12 to 14 current Springboks who are the number one team in the world, how are they not performing at that kind of level in the URC? So you've got to look at everything, but the coaching staff will be the one under the microscope, and that is where we are seeing the changes happen. What do you think? Who do you think should be the next coach for the Sharks? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.